guys in the dark.
So some crook had managed to make a copy of my debit card and hit the jackpot at several ATMs, draining more than $2,000 from my bank account. But to add insult to injury, I had followed my bank's instructions to the letter, only to have it accuse me of being a thief and a liar. I learned through a letter that my bank had conducted a thorough investigation and concluded that I was responsible for the loss. No elaboration, no explanation on any of it. The bank told me it was closing this dispute, and then had the audacity to say that I was a valued customer. I called in to complain, and unfortunately my wife had wrested away the phone moments before my aorta exploded. I later filed a crime report with the Los Angeles Police Department and sent a rage-filled complaint to my bank suggesting that anyone quit digging earwax and do some honest work about it. While I waited to hear back, and I waited, I had wrote in to the job that I work for about what was going on with my bank. Tales of woe from the readers began piling up on my desk, and many have roughed me up for not printing the name of my bank. As I had told them countless times before, we're not allowed to use the newspaper to settle our personal grievances, but they weren't buying any of it. Many of them demanded that I name my bank in question. A couple of them told me that I should tell them the name of the bank instead of protecting that bank, that I should protect the public from institutions like that, especially ones that will stop at nothing to make life miserable for their customers. Unfortunately, I've learned from my readers, not a single bank seems to have a monopoly on inept and insulting customer service. I did get letters from customers of Wells Fargo, Washington Mutual, and Citibank, and many others. A few of my responses were from 3 banks that figured my experience was so miserable I must be one of their customers. Washington Mutual's president was ready and eager to help me, and so was Wells Fargo executive, but the Bank of America had made my day. He said that your experience sounds just like a Bank of America customer service process. I guess he would know, right? It was as if I was running a sweepstakes for the bank with the most complaints. I heard from nearly twice as many Bank of America customers as all the others combined. Not that I'm going to tell you what bank that I do business with. I had one person tell me that they sent it in as a report to a detective, who told me essentially to forget it. They would look at the videotape and see that it wasn't me, but the bank ended up saying that a friend would put him up to it. Eventually, by the strangest coincidence, my bank had called me the day after my column had appeared to say it had received my latest letter of complaints, and lo and behold, it looked like I might have been wronged after all. The money in question had been returned to my account immediately, with a heartfelt apology, along with another $1,000 to cover 2 additional unauthorized withdrawals made by the thieves. I asked them what made them change their mind about their decision that I was the thief. The lady couldn't answer that question, nor would she tell me what the earlier thorough investigation consisted of, and nobody else at the bank could either. Honestly, I believe that there was no investigation, nothing that took more than 10 seconds anyways. Identity theft and fraud are on the rise. Banks lose millions of dollars in these scams, and as a federal bank regulating agency complained in 2001, they don't always break a leg to return money to ripped-off customers. I found out later that there are some things that you can do to protect yourself. Use cash at a gas station, where according to law enforcement officials, and judging by my mailbag, lots of scams are being run to swipe the information of your magnetic strip, along with your PIN code. Credit cards are much safer than debit cards, because in case of theft, cash can't be drained from your account. If you have a credit card option on your debit card, use it. You won't have to use a PIN at all, which means no one can steal your number. If you do use a debit card, take notice of nearby people and surveillance cameras before you punch in that PIN code. If you do get ripped off, report it to the police. Send a copy of the report to the bank by certified mail. Call the bank immediately. Ask for a supervisor. Ask for the addresses and phone numbers of senior executives and all their living relatives. Don't be bashful about making a stink about it. If you're still not getting anywhere or want to know more about current scams, check out the Identity Theft Resource Center. If all else fails, there's one last suggestion from somebody that I know. As a former employee of Bank of America, a friend of mine told me to tell customers to go to a branch, start talking very loud, as in very loud, like screaming about what a rotten bank this place is, how unfairly you've been treated, stuff like that. You'll immediately get the attention of a high-level person at that branch. It just might work. I do encourage frustrated customers, and anybody alike, to give that a try, even though that's not for me. So my sick mother was actually a victim in a scam by one of her banks. Her account was swept clean by suspected equity-linked fraudsters. She had initially visited the Equity Bank to replace her ATM card. While doing all of this, the guy at the bank suggested that instead of the ATM, she could use the Equitel SIM card for easier accessibility. My mother had signed up for one of the lines, recording a total of 900,000 KES in her account. After all the processing, the agent had told my mother to switch her phone off for 24 hours. Then they'll call her the following day to activate the SIM card to finish the whole process up. After all the information was said and done, she went home, switched off her phone. The following day they had called her, asked her a few questions, and then 2 hours later, her money had suddenly vanished out of her account. The whole ordeal had left us in a horrible state, seeing as how that was all the money that we had. It also begs the question and suspicion to whether Equitel has customer data protection at all. We, however, reported the matter to both Equitel and the police. After doing a report to Equity Bank and reporting a statement with the police, the bank has yet to commit itself to restore the account to the original position. Honestly, I'm not even sure if we're going to get that money back. I think that whole bank is just a fraudulent system, but we're definitely trying, and there is an investigation going on currently with that bank. After I'd married into a significant amount of debt, I thought that I was doing the right thing when I had accepted Chase's offer to pay off $20,000 worth of credit card debt at $500 a month. I started making all the payments on time, and everything was going smooth. Then out of nowhere, I received a letter that my monthly payment was going to go up to $900. I called Chase up. They told me about the change of terms, and it was being applied to everyone in the bank. To meet the new requirement, I had to take $15,000 out of my husband's 401k plan. It's been a struggle, and it shouldn't have been a struggle. I was doing just fine before Chase decided to change my plan. I'm now one of the members of a class action lawsuit against Chase, filed by a national litigation firm, alleging that Chase increased monthly minimum payments on loans provided to over 1 million customers, without even having them re-sign any forms. An older woman used to come in about once a week and ask to go into the vault where the safe deposit box were located. These rooms are private, and only one person is allowed in at a time. She would always stay for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and always came out crying. One day she had came in. She was very upset because she had lost her box key. The standard procedure was to contact a locksmith to drill the lock. The locksmith had came out, and the branch manager went to the vault to go open up her box. The manager came out looking like he was about to puke. My manager took the lady into his office. The next thing we knew, animal control was showing up. Turned out that this lady's cat had died a few months back. She was keeping its body in her safe deposit box. She'd been visiting and talking to it about once a week.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.